Hello, everyone. This is Eric Diaz, as Marketing 110 once again. I wanted to share with you a colleague of mine, Alan Gavartin, today, and I wanted to introduce Alan because, yeah, I was reading his bio, and I totally agree with opening line. Alan loves to help people find the right opportunity. Alan, in his role, this is what he does. So it's really a great opportunity to get to hear from him, somebody that does it professionally for over 15 years. And kind of how their experience with LinkedIn, and we're going to have a short presentation from that today, and then we're going to go into Q&A as always. But let me fully introduce Alan. Alan is an expert in all facets of the hiring process with over 15 years of experience helping clients of all sizes from a wide range of industries with their temporary and permanent technical hiring needs. Alan joined the company IGNW, which was acquired by CDW last year. Prior to that, he was with Baco and MDI Group, where he was a technical recruiter and client manager, and quickly became one of the company's leading performers. Alan has numerous accolades, including top prize in national sales contests in 2011, 2012, and 2014. Also was awarded President's Club winner in 2011, 2012, and 2014, along with receiving numerous Recruiter of the Month and Quarter awards. Before joining MDI Group, Alan was with Kappa Search and served on their recruitment and account executive teams. So Alan, once again, thanks for being part of the class.
Hey, thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. It's exciting to be here. I've had a chance to present to this group for, gosh, it's probably been like 4 years or 5 years in a row now. So it's always fun, always get a bunch of different questions. As you mentioned, I have a little bit of a deck to present. Hopefully I can share this properly, and we'll kind of go through that. Oh, 1 second here.
Yeah, go ahead, Alan. If you're able to just share directly, go ahead. If you need me to give you permission, let me know.
All right. Do you see the screen?
Yes.
All right. Perfect. All right. Very good. Well, I'm here to chat with you mostly about LinkedIn and the power of LinkedIn and how it helps people find jobs, how people navigate it, and then how recruiters use it as well to find people and the importance of it. So that's kind of the background of it. I work currently with a company called CDW. We're actually prior with a company called IGW that was acquired by CDW. I know I'm throwing a lot of letters at you there, but in July of 2020, we were acquired by CDW. CDW is a Fortune 200 company. They sell everything under the technology sun, literally everything from printers and hardware to software. We resell Microsoft products and Oracle products. And they purchased IGNW because they wanted to get into the services industry. And IGNW does both technology staffing as well as professional services for technology, specifically within digital transformation and modern technologists. So my background in general is 15 years in staffing and technology placement. I've helped thousands of folks across the country find new positions. And my role currently is working directly with companies and is really understanding what their hiring needs are, and then being able to take those needs and engage my recruiting team to then go find candidates and present those candidates to our different clients looking to hire. The two different sides to our business, just so you get a different feel for what services are, because that's such a broad thing. For us, services kind of fall into two baskets: technical services, which is staff augmentation, contracting, contingent labor, generally when the customer owns the outcome of any sort of process or any sort of person when they have them on their staff. And then the other thing that we do is we actually go out and build things for our customers, which is really cool. So a lot of customers are moving to the cloud or modernizing their environments, and they just simply don't have that capacity on staff to do so. So they engage our modern technologist engineers to come in and actually build whatever they're doing. And we own the outcome of that. So we will come into ABC company and move them to the cloud or build a microservice for them or containerize whatever they're doing. And it's all heavily technology focused, which a lot of buzzwords are being thrown at you right now. So kind of looping all this back to LinkedIn, really the key to most, not the key to most, the key to every company's success is their people. And right now, there is a major gap for technologists in the country. And every major company out there that is in the midst of a digital transformation is hiring for a very similar skill set within automation, development, full stack development, et cetera. It's all very, very, very competitive right now in the technology industry. So LinkedIn is probably our most powerful tool that we use as a recruiting organization to find people. It lets you tap into a very, very powerful job board. They have literally millions of jobs posted. You can build your own brand by building a page and kind of marketing yourself and your background on there. Build yourself up in a Google ranking. Obviously, it's a great place to maintain all of your professional contacts and empower yourself to research companies and their employees. Often when going through a job search or even thinking about your career, it's great to have some target companies or some goal companies. I really want to work at Apple. I really want to work at Tesla. I really want to work at Disney, whatever, is in your passion. Those are great things to do. And you can research the type of people and the skill sets that work at those companies on LinkedIn. And they obviously post all their jobs there. And you can see how kind of the spider web sort of connects to oneself. And then obviously, industry news, stay connected with the most modern technologies, what's happening, who's acquiring who, where things are headed. And at the core of it, LinkedIn is there to network. You're there to grow your network and be able to, branch out and meet as many new people that can help you grow your career. So kind of moving forward from there, a few things just from a very high level. I'm going to assume most of you guys have a LinkedIn profile. I would highly suggest you make one if you don't. And then there's a few things that I kind of just pulled from the internet. So, things that you want to avoid is having a poor headline, right? You want to get to the point on your headline. You don't just want to add a job title and an employer name. I think for mine, it's something with automation. Let's see some auto links if it'll let me bring things up here. There's some ad mistakes that we can bring up here. Oh. All right. Oh man, took me to a web page that looks. If it keeps going, no, this doesn't want to work for me. Sorry, this is a little bit outdated, I guess, on some of them. So keep going from there. Poor photo. You definitely want to have a professional photo. When you compare it to LinkedIn versus Instagram versus Facebook, you definitely want to have a different message to this audience than you do for your Instagram audience, which is generally more professional, not a wedding photo, not out having beers with your buddies, generally a biopic that is updated, current, and professional. Pretty simple, but you'd be surprised at some of the fun ones that you see out there. And as employers are looking for people and recruiting, they take that into account as well. It's really all about first impressions. There's an about me section. Let's see if this link works or not. If not, then I'll, gosh, my links are dead. I'm so sorry, Eric. I apologize. They worked just recently. But anyways, the core of it is you want to introduce yourself and be able to tell a story about yourself, just like how Eric sort of read my bio. I think I have that listed on LinkedIn, and it probably needs a little bit of an updating as well. It's just a matter of doing it and not being lazy, and sometimes you just get caught up in life. And I think I need to update mine a little bit, to be honest. So it's always good to have a little bit of a self-check there. Kind of diving into number 5, career history. You really want to be specific in your background, where you've worked, the dates being accurate. All that ties you to other networks within LinkedIn and all the people that you're connected with. So you want that all to be accurate and current. In terms of recommendations, you can easily ask anybody in your network for a recommendation. I know it's a little bit awkward, but people ask all the time. It's totally a normal request to have somebody do it. And then when you ask for a recommendation and somebody does one for you, that gets sent back to you and you get to read what it states before it goes public. So if it's not what you are wanting the public to see about yourself from somebody else's thoughts, you don't have to post it. But generally speaking, most people will recommend you if you ask for a recommendation, and it's got to be something relevant with the job performance and job duties, functions, etc. It's always good to contribute, just like a lot of people post on Facebook, or they post on Instagram, or all the other different social media sites. I guess I'm dating myself by not saying TikTok. You want to show activity, right? So you want to post relevant articles to your industry or your practice, your trade, whether it's a new technology that you're learning. It's always exciting to be, relevant with what's going on in the news. So a few other things, just duties included, what were you doing? What did you achieve in your career? What did you achieve at these positions? Very similar, like when you're writing a resume, you want to write about what did you accomplish at the position, not just, I was an administrator for XYZ. It's like I administrated this and I did that. So it accomplished something. So you want to show what your achievements are, and you want to use it as a brag page to some degree as well. Any sort of awards you get, if you get like a President's Club award, working at a sales organization, you really want to write President's Club on there, or Gold Club, or whatever the different buzzwords are, because recruiters that are savvy will search LinkedIn for buzzwords like that versus just like sales and etc. It's all based on buzzwords, and it's all a Boolean search. So people put in ands and ors and connect the different buzzwords, and that's how they create searches. So that's a super high level of kind of the do's and don'ts of building a LinkedIn profile. So kind of some crazy things about LinkedIn in general. Over 760 million users and 260 million monthly users. It's a pretty good percentage of active users. LinkedIn does not rely on advertisers. So 39% of LinkedIn users pay a monthly fee for it. And organizations can pay for LinkedIn in a multiple different ways. So recruiters can pay for it from a LinkedIn recruiter is what they call it. And that gives you the ability to search their entire 760 million person database and dive in much deeper than if you just press search in your search bar. The other side, the two most popular, at least I'll talk about, is LinkedIn Recruiter and then Sales Navigator. So on the Sales Navigator tool that they have, it's meant for salespeople and salespeople in every industry, because they can build lists and tear sheets and customized mailings and really understand their targets as salespeople and build that all out using LinkedIn almost as a CRM tool. So it's highly efficient. It can organize, it can kind of keep things in one place. And then obviously, if you have an account that you open up as a salesperson, it's much easier to be able to dig through LinkedIn to say, okay, these people have similar titles, and be able to branch out and go deeper into an account that way, and just kind of explore, who works there and gain deeper knowledge. Huge lead generation with them, 277% more effective than Facebook and Twitter. Recruitment wise, I think it's the number one site for where our recruiters and good recruiters in general find people. It's just, if you don't have a LinkedIn page and you don't have a picture and you don't have a bio matching your resume, we have questions at this point. Like, it's a mini red flag for us to say, okay, well, why don't they have a LinkedIn page with some connections? Like, that's odd in today's day and age with everybody being digitally connected. And then creating and sharing content. They receive 9 billion impressions a week, huge number. So people are obviously sharing content and providing value that way. So I threw a lot at you there. I know there's several questions and comments. Let me stop sharing and kind of go from there. So I guess we can just kind of start with, there's a few folks here in the room, if there's any questions from you guys, and if not, then there's a list of them that I can happily go through as well.
Yeah, Alan, thank you very much. So let me do this. I'm going to start off with a few of the questions that were submitted online from some of the students, and then
Awesome.
In just a minute, Andrea, I'll start with your questions. Just let me ask a couple of these first, and then Zoe, I'll pass to you after that. So a question that came in from Nicole. So she had a question about LinkedIn. She said, what suggestions do you have for someone struggling with making solid connections on LinkedIn?
Keep trying. I mean, there's really no magic potion to it. I would, in your suggestion, in your connection requests, I would maybe put a little bit of a note in there besides just the automated one that pops up, and make it a little bit more personal, and maybe provide a reason as to why you're connecting with the person versus just connecting. And it doesn't have to be long. As a matter of fact, it shouldn't be more than 2 sentences. Hey, you're in a similar field as me, and I've heard great things about your company. I'd love to connect on LinkedIn. Something like just a little bit more to make it more personal. Most people don't have a negative to not connect with you, so to speak. So I would just put a little bit of a personal touch to it, be my best suggestion there.
So show a little something about them, and not just like a robotic connection request, I guess.
Correct. Right. So not like you're just spraying to connect with everybody, because what people don't like on LinkedIn is when you connect with them and then immediately they connect with you, and the first thing you do is you send them a message to sell them something, or set up a meeting, or ask them for something. Like, people don't want to be sold to on the first interaction. It's like, why are we connecting? What value can I provide to you? And then once we build a little bit of rapport and I understand what you're doing, then I can offer you what my services are. Otherwise, it's pretty much like, I'm offering you something that you haven't told me that you needed. What are we doing? Right. So you want to learn, grow, and kind of build from there.
Yeah, Alan, I'm curious. I was just thinking about it. What's the weirdest or kind of like most off-putting LinkedIn request you've received? Like, and let me preface it. Like, I receive a lot of them. I was this morning today. I was going through them, and one of them was it said, "Hey, first name." But then the good part about it was, like, so it looks like it's just like a software. But the good part was the guy said, "LOL, just kidding." So it did get my attention, and I thought it was good, at least for that. I still didn't connect with him, but I did like look at his bio, and then all the time I'm sure you get these too, but it's like says, "Oh, LinkedIn says that we should connect because of X or something."
Right.
LinkedIn suggested. I was just curious, what's your experience?
Man, I get swarmed by our partners, people that want to do business with us, that immediately say, "Hey, do you have any requirements?" Like, immediately they go for the sell. So it's kind of annoying. And then the other side of it is when people try to recruit me, but for jobs that I'm not qualified for, like, "Hey, we saw your background and we think you'd be a great musician." I mean, like, what are you talking about? Like, I mean, like, things just that are not in my background. So they're clearly just sending 1,000 messages out to people, and they're just hoping to get lucky.
Gotcha. All right, I'm going to ask another question from Nicole. And I think you could answer from personal experience or just in general how you think people might get through. But she asked, what are some of the ways that you overcame the algorithm when you first started on the LinkedIn platform? Do you think those methods would apply today?
So I think I know what she means.
I think how do you get seen, or how do you maybe show up as more relevant? I guess.
The first thing is make sure you have a fully complete page. And then the second thing is to try to have as many connections as possible. The third thing is really use the buzzwords within your industry. So in technology, like, that's just the world I live in, so it's my easiest fallback. But developers develop in certain languages, so they should always write all those different languages out. They should make sure their titles are spelled properly, and like all the redundancy within. I think just it is all algorithm based, and all the searches that recruiters make are all based on buzzwords. So you just got to plaster your background, your page with relevant experience and relevant wording, like content to what you've been doing.
Got it. Okay. Very good. So Andrea, if you're ready, I'm going to have you, if you can, turn on your camera, and if you can ask your questions.
Yeah, so my question was, what recommendations or advice would you have for, in terms of like the type of content to share on LinkedIn, for someone who's not necessarily like passionate or thinking of staying long-term in the industry that they're currently in?
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to make your pivot? What's that look like for you? If there's, you're in marketing and you want to go into sales or whatever, like what are you doing to do that? Are you going to courses? Are you studying something? Maybe posting the books that you've been reading? Just really anything relevant to what your next journey encounter holds is kind of what I would post, and connect with as many people that are in that field as possible, that are kind of, maybe one or two levels above you in terms of experience, and just, use words like you're looking for mentorship, and you've heard great things about XYZ company. I'd love to connect with you further to learn more. Generally, people are like nice when you ask for help the nice way.
Okay. And then my second question, I don't remember it. Let me look it up. Sorry.
No, you're good. You might hear my 4-year-old daughter playing with her Barbies in the background. So
I know it had something to do. The only reason why I ask that is because I'm kind of in the middle of.
Oh, Andrea, I've got it here. You suggested, you said, how does one brand themselves when they're trying to figure out what it is they want to do or in the middle of changing their career?
Yeah.
Say that one more time. I'm so sorry.
So, Andrea, maybe explain what you're thinking about, and then maybe we can ask Alan that way.
Yeah.
Because you said you're going through a shift.
Yeah. So I recently just left my full-time job, and now I'm working retail and at a coffee shop. And that's okay for now. Not something that I want forever. But I'm not really sure how to leverage LinkedIn and how to use it when all my connections are coworkers that I've had from like this job that I was at for 5 years, or people that I went to school with. I don't know how to use it to my benefit.
What do you want to do, and what were you doing?
So I was working for a nonprofit that focused on youth mentoring.
Nice.
What I want to do, I think it's more like social media management, something more creative, whether it's like digital marketing or graphic design, something along those lines.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think that's a great career pivot, like digital marketing and content, like definitely isn't going anywhere. Have you done anything in terms of coursework or schoolwork or anything to kind of pivot you to get a leg in the door, so to speak? And, taking that further, generally people find jobs either through applying to them, obviously, or through friends of friends, like maybe not your first circle of friends, but your second, like their friends, right? So it's like a fairly wide window. You just start talking to people and you'd be surprised. Everybody needs to hire people right now. So you just kind of like got to put it out there that this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what I've done to do what I'm trying to accomplish, and kind of put it out there, whether it's on LinkedIn, to your network, just into earth, right? Like state it, like believe it, and it'll come to you as long as you're putting things into action to get there, right? Like nothing's just going to happen. But just keep plugging away with networking, anything that seems relevant to you, great. There's tons of different like online courses specific to just that you could probably find and take. So I think there's options for you, but a lot of they all involve doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully that didn't confuse you too much.
No, and I feel like that's at the stage where I'm at now. Like I talked about it long enough, and now I'm actually taking action and trying to figure it out. So yeah, that's helpful.
Good. Yeah. Get up and do. That's the key.
Hey, Alan, what about some of those? You can put signals out on LinkedIn, right? Like open to work. And so I've never done. I was just curious how that, if you knew more about that.
Yeah, totally. So that's like a checkbox, right? So you can put, I'm open to networking, I think is what they call it, which is basically I'm open to a new job. And when recruiters search on LinkedIn Recruiter, that's one of the checkboxes that you can fill. Like, do you want the person to be open to networking or do you not? So, those people are kind of, everybody knows they're looking to some degree. Absolutely positive to do that.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I think also, Andrea, just network with me as well on that, because I've actually really happy to say that we've been able to place 2 interns in the last 6 months, I think. And we're in a part-time position. Actually, Zoe is one of them. So, if I can, just like you said, Alan, putting it out there is really good. Telling more people like Alan and myself, because then we'll keep you in mind. And then, however, also, of course, like to expand on that by telling, hopefully, thousands of people on, digitally in any way you can as well.
No doubt about it.
Very good. So, Zoe, I wanted to pass to you, and I know you submitted a few questions for Alan.
Awesome. My first question is, what is one piece of advice you give to college students applying for jobs and interviewing?
Yeah, great question. Super hard to do it, right? But the biggest thing about interviewing is you really just got to be yourself, and you have to speak truthfully about what you have and haven't done, what you really want to learn, and how you want to grow your career. I was just on an interview. I was actually just on 2 interviews this afternoon, back to back. One of the guys had like 25 years of experience, and one guy had 5 years of experience. And the guy that had 5 years of experience was a crisp communicator. He was clearly able to articulate exactly what he's been doing the last few jobs, what he wants to do moving forward. Like, he laid it out. I was like, wow, this guy really sounds crisp. The other gentleman didn't really have it, where he's like, this is what I did, this is where I accomplished it, this is how I did it. So like, at the end of the day, like I was able to get the feedback from the clients. They want to hire the person with 5 years of experience. So it's really all about how you present yourself. I think when you go into any interview, you need to ask yourself, what have been my biggest accomplishments in my career so far? Write those down. Write down questions about the company, position, day-to-day duties. Hey, what am I going to be doing here every single day? What's your favorite thing about working at this company? What did you do before you got here? What's the growth like within the position if I do a good job in 1, 3, and 5 years down the road, right? So you want to plant that seed that you're going to grow, that you want to continue to grow your career. You want to see what the future holds. At the end of the day, when you're an interviewer, you're there for one reason and one reason alone, and that's to get the job and get an offer. So you really need to view yourself as a salesperson selling yourself. You need to tell the interviewer to some degree what they want to hear. And that doesn't mean that you're lying about your experience. That just means that you're super confident, you're super enthusiastic, you've got the right attitude, you're trainable. You're here because you want to be here, right? There's a lot of grumpy people that are going to work grumpy, and nobody likes that. So like, attitude, I swear, is 90% of it. Like, especially once an interview starts, I think that's the hardest thing, is getting the interview. But once the interview starts, it's like your resume did its job. You just need to go in there and sell yourself. And people have a really hard time doing that because they don't interview a lot. Like, I sit in on 50 interviews a month. So I see the good, the bad, and the really bad. And it's more bad than good because most people don't interview a lot, yet most people are very confident within themselves and they don't take advice. So it's just a kind of human nature to be like, no, I'm great at that. I know exactly what I'm doing. But then, like, you don't read the room's audience. You don't ask questions. You don't let the interviewer speak. You really want to listen. And the other kind of thing to interviewing is, if you're on a 30-minute interview and it's a phone or a video interview like this, you're talking for like 18 minutes, right? And the person's talking for 12 about, right, between questions and answers. So like, you only have 18 minutes to mess this thing up. So script it, right? Like, what do you want to talk about? Tell them what you want to talk about. What did you accomplish? And just be enthusiastic about yourself. Nobody knows you better than you.
Awesome. And then my second question is, how have you adapted to COVID/remote from home work life, and what keeps you motivated?
Yeah, so I was lucky. I was actually remote before COVID started. So that was pretty cool. IGNW is a company based in Portland. So when I started, they were just a Portland-based company. And then a year later, they got acquired by CDW. But our roles remained kind of remote. And then anybody that we're hiring for our division is remote. So I love it. It's not for everybody. I think that it is, I don't want to say it's generational, but like it kind of is a little bit. Like I think a lot of more millennials and younger people like really want to be in an office and interact and kind of have that. And I think that like grumpy old guys like me are just like, I'm good. I'll just work from home and be happy, just knock out my work and, know what I need to do and kind of go from there. So there's no like silver bullet for it. And then what we're seeing now is companies have no idea what to do in terms of the reopening, because some companies have a very in-office mindset in general. Like in Phoenix, like USA is a good example. They're a huge company in the north part of town. They're a great organization, but pre-COVID, you never worked from home. It was like not a thing. Like work in the office. This is our beautiful office. You come to the office. Well, now everybody's remote and everybody's in high demand for technology jobs. And are these companies going to say, okay, come back, you have to come in to the office? What's going to happen? People are going to say, well, I can just go to work for American Express and work remotely. So why would I do that? So companies are going to find themselves in a very interesting place, and it's happening already. Like we're speaking with candidates that are, I like my job, but they're making me go back to the office after COVID. So I'm looking around. So that's just going to create a whole new wave of open jobs.
That's good for your business.
It is. It's crazy. It really is.
Good, great question, Zoe. All right, guys, what I'm going to do, I've got 2 questions from Paula I'm going to ask, and I just got one final wrap up, and then we'll end for today. So Alan, and these are some questions about your role and how you got there. Came from Paula in our class. He says, what are the toughest problems and decisions that you currently have to handle?
That's a great question. I guess I'll explain my role a little bit further and then answer that. So my role right now is I lead CDW's sales efforts for all of their technology services and staffing for the entire Southwest. So CDW has hundreds of salespeople throughout the Southwest and country, thousands throughout the country, but hundreds throughout the Southwest. And they all have clients, Fortune 10 to small businesses. And all those clients are in need of something. And often that falls back to people. So now that CW can sell services, anytime any of those clients have job openings, the CW rep will come to me and say, hey, we need this. So then I'll speak with that client, understand what it is that they're looking for. And then I have a team of recruiters that I'll call and say, okay, I need 2 people that can do X, Y, Z. And, just for sake of keeping this easy, we'll just leave it at that, right? So I have a recruiting team that'll go find the people for me. So then my job is to make sure that the candidates are coming in quickly, that they're good candidates, that they kind of check all the boxes. So what I mean by that is, do they fit the compensation? Do they have the experience? Are they in the right location or geo? And then all the little quirky things that our clients have, is it a 3-month contract? Is it a 6-month contract to hire? Is it a direct hire? There's literally like every little job is something a little bit quirky to it. So with that, the best part of what we deal with is when we find somebody for a job and they interview and they like it and the client likes them and everybody's super happy and we get them an offer and they accept the offer and they start working. That's perfect. And how we make money is super important to understand too, because a lot of people don't know how recruiting works and they don't realize that recruiting is kind of the original software as a service model where it's recurring revenue. So a lot of the business that we do is contract business. What that means is a company will hire our developer, we'll just say he's a software engineer, because they have a project that they need to complete. But they don't want to hire that person full time. They just need this person for 6 months to do X, Y, Z. So they will tell us, okay, we'll hire this person and we have a budget of $125 an hour. We'll say, great, we'll go find somebody for $75 an hour and the customer will pay us $125 an hour. That's like the super easy example. There's a burden to it. It's not just straight profit. There's a cost to employ people without diving into too many minutia details there. But now you're talking about a recurring revenue of about, call it $30 an hour. So they're talking about $1,200-1,300 a week, right? So you're talking almost $5,000 a month of profit. And you're not really doing anything, right? The job is done. You put the person to work, they go to work. Every hour that they work, they bill. So in that sense, staffing and services is an incredible industry, because you can have as many people as you can attain working for you. And for every hour that those people are working, you can have 50, 100 people working for you. Every hour they're working, you are making money. So it's a pretty cool model. The other side to our business is direct hire. And in direct hire, we charge a fee for finding a person and then delivering them to a company. So let's pretend we hired somebody at USAA for $100,000. We charge them a 20% fee of the salary. That's a $20,000 fee. Pretty easy math. So it's like a very interesting business where we sell a product that we don't buy, people, and then we accumulate revenue through their work. So to answer the original question, the big challenge is the risk, because you're hiring people in a staff augmentation category, which means I called Eric today. I've never met him before. Eric, how many years of experience do you have? Do you fit this, that, and the other? Okay, great. Fast forward 3 weeks, Eric gets the job. Well, 2 weeks into the job, Eric's not doing a very good job. So Alan gets a call. Hey, Alan, Eric's not working out for me here. So now Eric's quit his old job, started a new job, and here we are 2 weeks in, they don't like Eric anymore. And now I have to terminate Eric. It's never fun. Happens often, not often, but it happens enough where it's kind of a bummer. So that sucks, right? Is terminating people. I'm a little bit immune to it, because most of the time I've kind of come to realize that people that are getting fired kind of deserved it for some reason or another. Like they put themselves in that position to be terminated. So I mean, that's the challenges. And then sometimes like the hardest part for me is when people don't get the job after they interview for it and they like really wanted it, right? And like the client just like, they didn't have this or they didn't have that. And, you kind of feel bad for somebody, because now I'm in a position I can't really say, client, you must hire this person, because it's their company and their role. So you kind of feel bad for it, right? You come across people in all facets, right? We're hiring for $25 an hour help desk jobs, and we're hiring for $250 an hour senior technology consultants. So, you come across the gambit.
No, very interesting. Thanks for explaining the industry a lot more. It is really unique how that works, and those two different business models, those revenue models that you guys have. So, and then final question that Paula had was, to do your work and do what you do, Alan, what types of personal and professional skills does it take to succeed at this?
We often joke we're on like a hamster wheel, because, like we're studying a lot of contractors and they always have an end date. So you want to have as many people on as possible while the offs are mitigated by extensions and just kind of keeping that wheel full of people. So man, it's kind of hard. The real honest answer is it's hard work. It's a grind. I know it's like super cheesy because everybody says it, but like you got to put the work in. There's a lot more failure than there's success, right? So like, just to give you an idea of what that means, our recruiters submit at least 10 resumes, 10 candidates to jobs a week. And if they get 4 deals, 4 placements a month, they're killing it, right? So that's 4 out of 40 in terms of a success factor. And that's great. So you got to be super resilient. You got to be stable and steady. And really good advice that I got when I was super young. I had a job in Chicago and I was selling telecom services. And I had a huge month. It was like my second month in the company. I had like a massive 1 customer sale. So my numbers spiked. And my boss looked at me and said, "Hey man, don't be a flash in the pan. And I said, all right, that sounds like, I like really internalized that, right? Like, because like it's easy to have one good month. Anybody can have one good month or one good sale, but it's super hard to be consistent. So if you're consistent, that is probably my biggest quality, is like, you know what you're going to get from me day in, day out. I'm going to produce. The team knows. And what type of professional development? Honestly, I haven't done enough, and I probably should do more. I have great mentors. I've worked with great people. I listen well. I work for a huge company now, so there's a ton of opportunity. And honestly, everybody in this call, if you're looking for a job, CDW hires for literally every job in the professional category. So like, Fortune 200 organization. If you're looking, we are hiring. So please check it out. You can drop my name in whatever referred me line. So yeah, I mean, that's really it, man. Just, you got to keep going. I think that's the biggest thing. I don't have a master's degree. I don't know if it would help me in my day-to-day job. It probably wouldn't hurt me. Just obviously, the more knowledge that you have, the better. But my job is really about just tenacity and sticking with it. And it's really hard. So I think most of the people that get into the industry are out of the industry within like 3 to 5 years because they're so sick of it. And what I mean by that is, it's maybe answering another question from prior, is one of the biggest challenges is people are really hard to deal with and they're very untrustworthy. I know that sounds terrible to say, but like, we have people that don't show up for interviews. We have people that don't show up for first day of the job after they've done all the paperwork and drug testing, background checks, and every single thing. They don't show up. And it's like, you kind of lose faith a little bit, right? So like we've had people that like, they don't show up and the manager's always the same thing. Oh gosh, I wonder what happened to Don. I hope nothing happened. Geez, I'm so worried. And like, I used to be like that too. Like, oh gosh, I hope he didn't get into a car accident. But it's never that. It's literally, they're just bad. They're just like, they're scared to come to you and tell you the truth that they got another job. And like, you hear about ghosting, right? Like more and more about ghosting interviews, ghosting starts in the industry. Don't do that. Pick up the phone and call whoever you're saying no to and say, thank you, I'm going to take this job instead. Or thank you, I appreciate the opportunity, I'm going to pass. And don't email either, right? Like, call. Like, if you want to build a relationship and keep a relationship, you'll get a lot more respect from somebody if you actually respect their time as well.
Great tips. Great tips. Thank you. And then, Alan, just wrapping up, any final tips that you have? So yeah, let me explain the class again. So a lot of them are, maybe transferring to Arizona State soon, maybe looking for their first jobs very soon, in the next, immediately, or the next year or two.
Yeah.
I'm also going to ask you for that link for CDW. If you don't mind, email it to me. I'll post it to everybody that's going to watch this video. But yeah, any just final tips, like as people are kind of starting to look for their first professional job, just kind of final thoughts.
Well, I'd say timing wise, it's a lot better than a few years ago in terms of hitting the market. The job market is really, really excellent. No matter what the news tells you, the market is phenomenal. Jobs in technology and automation and digital transformation, at least from my purview, like that's what I see in front of me. That is where it's headed. Like, you will always be employed if you're technical. Do all that you can to get internships, talk to as many companies as possible. It's a total numbers game. Don't get discouraged. One doesn't have anything to do with another, right? So if you get rejected from a job at Apple, does not mean that Tesla will not hire you. They do not talk to each other. You just got to keep going. And you got to know what's on your resume. Like, read your resume, look at it and be like, is this a good resume? What does it say? Does it say what I accomplished, or does it say, was a participant in a class project, right? Like what does it say? Read it. Most people make a resume one time and then they just submit it. So, it's really about getting out there, communicating, talking to as many people as you can. Internships are key, getting a mentor, having some form of an advocate that's senior to you within your industry that you can rely on. I can't tell you how huge something like that will go. Like, and you can kind of like follow somebody through their career, and then you'll always have somebody that can give you a recommendation. Anyways, yeah, I think that's probably my best advice.
Yeah, no, that's great. Alan, thank you once again. This is a great session. Really appreciate that. And yeah, I am going to record this. I'm going to upload it. If you would share that link to CDW, I would love to, show the students where they can find those job opportunities. Excellent. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for being part of it. Much appreciated, Alan.
Thanks, Eric. Have a great day, man.
All right. Take care, guys. Thank you.